Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Jupiter's CROCK.
Great start.
Another episode of Jupiter's CROCK here on the Outpost Unknown YouTube channel. It is 1 week later, and in my headcanon, Ronan is still late. So I'm going to go ahead and say Ronan has late another 10 minutes, even though he's been here the entire time. My name is Matthew. Joining me once again, I don't even think I introduced us on the last episode. We have Ronan.
Well, but you went into a diatribe because you're just so bitter and full of hate that you skipped polite pleasantries.
Let's go and Crixus on you.
The previous episode, we introduced Ronan by bitching about him being late even after having 2 extra days to get ready.
That's true. Yep. And of course, Spartacus.
Yep, I'm here again with a definitely brand new group of people at this poker table with us.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about Episode 6, Spoils of War, today, which is going to be fun and exciting. I will point out that if you listen to the last episode, Spartacus actually said a lot about what was already happening in Episode 6. So maybe the recap won't necessarily need to be as long. We'll find out. Spartacus, take it away.
God. All right. So at the end of the last episode, Caesar had burned the gate, which allowed the Roman forces to batter down the gate. And so now Spartacus's forces are on the run. And so Spartacus and Agron and Crixus and Saxa and everyone, they are huddling up. And Spartacus says, we have to get out of here. And Gannicus says, I will go and make a distraction, which he takes Donar and does. And then, of course, like we said last time, Crixus immediately sees through this distraction. Crassus. I keep getting those confused. Crassus immediately sees through this distraction. It's like in Mad Max where he just looks at that flaming building over there and says, "Nah, that's bait." That's what Crassus does here. Crassus sees through all the bullshit, and so Crassus does not fall for the distraction that Gannicus and Donar are doing. Then Gannicus and Donar find Sybil, who we are very sad to see is still alive somehow. And so now Gannicus and Donar have to protect Sybil. Donar gets stabbed and dies, air quotes. And so now it's just Gannicus and Sybil. They are hiding in the city.
A lot of fake out deaths in the last couple episodes.
Yeah. So basically, Spartacus's forces, they get pushed out. They've lost the city at this point. So I mean, what else happens in the city? Spartacus's forces just lose. They all get pushed out, and really, Spartacus is absent for a lot of this episode. He does not play much of a part in it. This is a Crassus-centric episode, right?
Yes.
Roman would be more accurate, not necessarily Crassus, but this is a Roman-themed episode.
All right.
The creators stated that this episode was light on sort of the action stuff because they needed to save money for the later episodes. So this was kind of an episode that was we just need a lot of talking and not a whole lot of stuff. That's why when you see Yellow Ranger take her bath, it's 2 minutes of slow motion.
It's way too fucking long.
Yeah.
Or was it exactly the right length?
I was about to get, because I know what Steve's. We have. It's weird to say that 2 minutes of slow motion, titty washing and wet titty washing is a bad thing, but it's just too long. It's too fucking long.
Those merkins are so ridiculous too.
This is weird. Since you mentioned that earlier in this season, I have been looking because I never noticed before, but the pubic hair of Yellow Ranger and the woman washing her are identical. They are pube sisters. They are wearing identical merkins. The same length, the same color, the same positioning.
Yep. It just looks out of place and ridiculous.
Anyways, is there anything else we need to talk about with Spartacus's forces?
No, that's it. That's the episode.
They got pushed out of the city, and so now Crassus has taken over the city, and so Crassus sends his forces out to kill or capture any any remaining rebel threat in the city. Gannicus and Sybil are hiding under like floorboards somewhere. uh, Caesar finally gets to shave, and he is very
Shaving
thrilled.
And the haircut.
2 bits.
2 bits. Yes.
He finally gets to shave, so he looks like Caesar again. Weaselface shows back up, and Crassus has invited Weaselface back, and like eventually, Weaselface is going to become his second in command again, but not yet. And Weaselface is very upset. Like, did you not call me up here to like have me back by your side and to give me this position back? And Crassus is like, no, I brought you up here.
You're going to plan a victory party for Caesar.
Yes, like I brought you up here to essentially like plan like Caesar's victory parade and victory celebration. And Weaselface is like, there's no love lost between us. Find someone else to do this. And Crassus is like, no, one of the smartest things a warrior can do is turn an enemy into an ally. And so if you do this victory celebration for Caesar and you properly praise him, it will be seen as a sign of goodwill towards the men, goodwill towards Caesar. Basically, do this to get on Caesar's good side, and you will therefore get on the men's good side, and that will make them more agreeable to you resuming your old position. And Caesar's having a fucking field day with this. Weaselface goes, or Caesar summons Weaselface. Caesar is now clean shaven again. He's looking good. He's got 2 beautiful naked women there. And Caesar's like, oh, Weaselface, come on in. I just thought I should share the spoils with you. And Weaselface is like, what the fuck do you want? Like, I know you're pulling some shit. What's going on? And Caesar's like, oh, no. I just, I wanted us to come to common ground. Please enjoy one of my women.
One of my fine whores. Please
yes,
have one.
Please help yourself to one of them. And Weaselface is like, what do you want? I have to plan your fucking celebration. Do you want like wine or boar or oysters? And Caesar's like, well, shit, I guess he just wants to keep fighting. More horse for me. And so Caesar goes back to enjoy his women, and Weaselface is like, fuck this, I'm gonna go plan your stupid party. And as Weaselface is leaving, Caesar goes, oh, Weaselface, please do fry me up some oysters. Thank you, kind sir.
You know what? You're right. Oysters. Get me oysters, you little bitch. I think he should have just, accepted Caesar's slight diatribe. Do you think Caesar was actually trying to make him like a genuine offer of like, okay, here's a genuine olive branch?
Caesar hates this guy. He hates Weaselface.
100%.
As we all do.
Weaselface, because he can't get any worse. Well, there's another scene with Corey and Crassus, and Corey is, suffering right now because Weaselface did terrible things to her. And
actress does a good job too.
She does. I still think she is like secretly the same actress that played Automaeus' wife back in the.
She looks so similar.
Yeah, they do look the same.
Anyways, so Crassus has a moment with Corey, and it's like, stay with me in the villa. You don't have to be in the followers' camp anymore. And Corey's like, yes, finally I can get out of that miserable place. She doesn't tell Crassus what happened. She only tells him that, it was getting very, very bad in the followers camp. And then in comes Weaselface.
That's why she's crying. That's kind of why he feels that she's crying. Not because she was...
Yeah, he doesn't know.
But, yeah.
He does not know. So in comes Weaselface. He's like, oh, Corey is so upset because I put so much of my grief on her, and she offered such great comfort. It's my fault. I put this burden on her. And Corey leaves, and then later on, and that's when Crassus tells Weaselface, "Hey, go plan Caesar's party." And then then Weaselface goes and tracks Corey down and basically tells her, "It's such a shame that you came on to me and that you wanted all of that, and wouldn't it be terrible if that was the story that made it back to my dad? Shut your fucking mouth if you don't want us to kick you out." I hate Weaselface. I hate him so much.
God, is he a worse villain than Asher in terms of like the stuff he does?
In terms of
Because
like sheer unlike
Asher does stuff to Xena that's very
yeah.
unpleasant. Just like, I mean, how do you compare Asher versus
Asher,
Weaselface?
like Asher, as terrible as he is, has some level of charisma and some level of intelligence. Weaselface just does bad things and has no redeeming qualities whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's interesting because we like Asher and we're excited to watch a show about him, but we would not want to watch a show about Weaselface.
Yeah,
No, well,
in terms
the
of
problem.
sheer unlikability, Weaselface wins. In terms of better villain, Asher wins.
Yeah, we like a smart villain. Like Asher makes plans, they come to fruition. Like we see that in the prequel show. We see it in season 1. We see it in season 2. You want to root for a smart character. It doesn't necessarily matter if they're good or bad. You want to root for a smart character. Like you think Die Hard 1 and Die Hard 3. The villains, they're terrible villains. But they're also smart. They have a well thought out plan. Everything comes together. They're charismatic. You fall in line. You get to like them. Like Weaselface has not come up with any good plans. All of his plans, like he's still blaming his men. This is a kind of an important note to take away from the last episode. He's still blaming his men, even and refusing to accept the fact, like, well, he wouldn't have been in this situation had he followed orders. This is on him, but he can't accept that, so he's yelling at his men. He's lashing out at everybody. Oh, this is my dad. He's an entitled, spoiled brat. That's part of why we don't like him so much. He doesn't make plans that follow through, and he's smart. He's just entitled and gets away with it because he's rich. That's it. So fuck him.
Gannicus and Sybil. So let's put a pause on the Caesar stuff for a minute. Gannicus and Sybil are trying to escape the city. They are, aside from like the captured survivors, they are the only rebel Spartacus forces still moving somewhat freely about the city. And so they're lurking around trying to escape. Meanwhile, back with Crassus once again calls in the Yellow Ranger, not before having her and her merkin sister like take baths together. And so
16-minute naked kitty bath.
Very slow.
The Yellow
I feel
Ranger.
Like they were like, Yellow Ranger hasn't been naked in the show yet. We got to make up for it. That's how it felt like.
Well, Yellow Ranger is bathed by a slave girl with an identical merkin, and then presented to Crassus. And Crassus wants to talk to her because remember a couple episodes ago, Spartacus goes to Yellow Ranger and says, "Tell me about Crassus," and now the reverse is happening. Crassus goes to the Yellow Ranger, or brings the Yellow Ranger to him rather, and says, "Tell me about Spartacus." And they mentioned Crassus. He mentioned it last episode how the Yellow Ranger like actually helped Spartacus. And Yellow Ranger is trying to say like I didn't have a choice. Like I helped Spartacus because he was going to kill everyone if I didn't. And Crassus brings that up again in this episode. But he tries to tell her, it's like, look, I'm not blaming you. We all do what we must. I just want to know about Spartacus. And so they have a chat about it. And Yellow Ranger says, Spartacus has a wounded heart. He wants vengeance, and Crassus mentions, I know what happened to his wife. But then she says, like, it's not just vengeance at this point. He wants justice. And I don't think Spartacus can't stop this war. Like, even if he wanted to, he is now compelled to fight you and fight Rome, blah, blah, blah. Crassus, you can tell that Crassus is getting, like, he respects Spartacus at this point. He does not treat Spartacus like a dog like the rest of Romans do. But now... in comes Heraclio, who survived. He's got a big gash on his head that's been stitched up, and so we find out why Heraclio turned on Spartacus in the last episode. Crassus paid him, but part of the payment was Heraclio gets the Yellow Ranger. And she is like, I am a Roman, you can't do this to me. And Crassus says, you helped Spartacus. Like, it doesn't matter like what the consequences were. You helped the enemy, and now this is your punishment.
Yep.
And this
is foreshadowing something that will happen later on. in terms of Crassus's motivations for even the people he cares about, what he's going to do.
I alluded to this earlier on, like, you know, that Crassus will turn on you in a fucking heartbeat.
Yeah, and so this reminded me of a couple of episodes ago when Caesar kills the guy from the city that escaped to deliver a message. So like this guy like fled Sinuessa and comes to the Roman camp and says, Spartacus is here, we need help. And Caesar's like, oh, so you turned and ran. And so Spartacus, even though this guy has done a service to Rome by delivering this information, Caesar still kills him. And so we've got a very similar situation here. Even though Yellow Ranger did a service to Rome by doing what she had to do to protect her constituents, because she is the wife of the mayor, she still aided the enemy, and so now Crassus is punishing her. So according to Crassus and Caesar, if you see Spartacus, you go and fucking kill him. And if you do anything else to protect yourself, you will suffer for it, even if you did a good thing. It's weird logic here, but whatever. Crassus and Caesar do things their way. But Heraclio is given the Yellow Ranger.
To be fair to Crassus, Yellow Ranger probably could have killed Spartacus multiple times over had she actually wanted to. Because there's a point in time when they start getting closer to one another and stuff, and it's possible she could have had the opportunity to stab him in the neck or something when he was turned around, and she doesn't. And I think Crassus looks at this as like, it wasn't like you were literally shackled this entire time and you couldn't do anything. It's like you had the opportunity. We could have ended this war at any point.
I don't know about that.
No.
Yeah,
I think so. I think
Matt, we discussed last time your headcanon cannot be trusted.
No, had she not been alone with Spartacus multiple times throughout this entire season?
No, she is not. Like
she
Agron shadowed Spartacus constantly.
Not early on. He only was like the previous episode before the last is like, you're my bodyguard now.
Fine, but then there's not I'm gonna do something dumb. There wasn't a situation where Spartacus turned his back on her then when they were
You're
alone.
also forgetting that Spartacus didn't allow her to roam around unchained until a very specific point in time. Otherwise, no, she was always shackled when she was around him. When he decided, there was a very specific point where Spartacus was like, okay, yeah, you know what, I'm going to give you the ability to move freely, nobody's going to fuck with you. That was the point where he finally,
at any point in that time, there's a whole scene with them alone in a room
because of Matt's headcanon, because of Matt's headcanon, I was like, an untrained, undisciplined, scared woman could easily overtake and sneak up and butcher.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying she could have. I'm saying she should have taken the opportunity to. That's what Crassus is saying.
You are victim blaming. That's exactly what you are doing. You are victim blaming, sir.
Crassus
Ronan,
is victim blaming,
shut up.
not me.
Shut up. Ronan and I disagree with Matt's incorrect opinion. Let's move on. Heraclio has been given the Yellow Ranger, and Crassus tells him, you have, until this hour to leave, and if you are still here when that hour passes, fuck our deal, I will kill you. So leave now. But Heraclio's like, no, I got important business to do before I can leave, and so he takes the Yellow Ranger to what I assume was Addius's old blacksmithing shop.
It looks like it.
And he brands her. He tells her that I am not a Roman. I am not going to sell you. I am not going to pass you around to my men like the men certainly want me to do. You are mine and mine alone. I am going to make you the queen of the seas. But you're also kind of my slave. So he brands her. He brands her with the letter H. And just at that point, in come Gannicus and Sybil. They have escaped from the basement they were hiding in. They're trying to flee the city, and so they run into Heraclio, and Gannicus and Heraclio have a moment where Heraclio says, "Yeah, hey, nothing personal. It's just business." And holy shit, did I win that? But they end up fighting, and Heraclio, Gannicus kills everyone but Heraclio, and Heraclio's got the sword to Sybil's throat, and he's like, "Well, it's such a shame that you've got your girlfriend killed now." And then Yellow Ranger stabs him through the back of the neck with a hot poker and kills Heraclio, which I thought that was a cool scene. I liked that effect of like the red hot poker sticking through the front of his neck. So Heraclio's dead. Gannicus is like, all right, fine, let's continue our plan to get out of here. So he dresses up like Heraclio, and he is going to leave the city with Sybil. But Sybil says, "What about Leda? What about the Yellow Ranger?" And Gannicus is like, "What the fuck about her?" It's like, she's a Roman, I don't care. But Sybil says, "No, she's one of us now. She is a slave, and so we got to take her with us." And Gannicus says, "Fine, but don't fuck up, don't fuck up, because we're gonna leave you behind."
Well, I can't argue that logic. She's got the brand.
It tracks.
Yes, and so now Gannicus and Yellow Ranger and Sybil are trying to flee the city, and so now it's time for Caesar's celebration, and they've got 3 slaves that we see, one of which is Donar. So Donar was not dead; he just got sleepy after he got stabbed in the stomach. He has a name, so getting stabbed in the stomach is not fatal to him, and so that's fine. So. There's 2 like nameless slaves / rebels. One of them is like getting drawn and quartered. Like there's 4 groups of Romans, and a chain has been tied to each of his limbs, and
they're wishboning him.
The Romans are pulling as hard as they can, and one of his arms get ripped off, and so that means that like the Roman team that first managed to rip off a limb wins. And then now it's another slave, and he gets put in like an iron mast where he can't see, and so he's just getting beat in the head with hammers. And then Donar is the only one that's left, and Donar yells like, "Yo, I'd fucking kill you all. You're shitting your pants," at the thought of actually fighting a gladiator. And Weaselface is there, and he's like, "What would you actually do if you had the chance to fight?" And so somehow he manages to unlock the chains on Donar's wrist. He somehow frees Donar without anyone noticing, and so Donar plays along, and so he pretends that he's still chained, and now it's time for the final kill. And well, before all this, Crassus tells the senator that I'm taking the city. Spoils of war. The city's now mine. And the senator's like, "What the fuck? The Senate's not going to let you just claim the city." And Crassus, and then Crassus is like, "Well, how about I give you a house?" And he's like, "Oh shit, that does change things. Yeah, I'll convince the Senate to let you keep the city."
Yeah.
And so Crassus has just claimed the city, and he's like giving gifts to the senator to keep the senator on his side. And so now we're time for the final fight, air quotes. Donar is chained up, and he is just going to be executed. But then Weaselface makes a speech, and it's like, "Oh, the final kill should go to the man we're here to honor. It should go to Caesar." And so Caesar's like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. And so Caesar jumps down, and he is about to execute Donar when Donar then reveals that he is free, and he smacks Caesar in the face with his chains. And Crassus is like, "Kill the fucker." And Caesar says, wait, I'm gonna fight him. And so like Weaselface is so upset because like he knows Caesar looked at Weaselface, and Caesar knows that Weaselface freed the slave, but he doesn't say anything. Caesar sees an opportunity, and so he's like, "If I kill this gladiator in a one-on-one fight, I will have even more respect from my men." And so he does. Like Caesar and Donar
will anger Weaselface even more.
Yes. Donar's getting some good licks in, but Caesar like attacks his stomach wound, which gives Caesar the upper hand, and so Donar's down on his knees, and Caesar's like, "You fought well," and then Donar says something like, "Choke on my cock, you Roman fox," and like stabs himself in the head, kills himself, and like this is kind of like a downer. The glory of the kill was robbed from Caesar, and so the party is ending on kind of a bad note. But then Crassus saves the day. He's like, "Ha ha ha! The Spartacus's forces are so scared of Caesar they kill themselves." And so now the ship has been righted. Everyone's praising Caesar. I
mean, I've heard worse spin on Fox News. I mean, I guess it tracks.
I think I didn't really like this. I think Caesar could have still kept his cool here. I think if Caesar had just started laughing, I think the men would have joined in, and like it would have been like a non-issue. Like I didn't really like that Crassus had to come in and like protect Caesar, but it doesn't matter. The rebel forces have been kicked out of the city. The rebels within the city are dead. Caesar has been properly honored. Caesar knows that Weaselface tried to kill him, and so eventually, that's going to come to a head. Rome is winning essentially, and so now it's the next morning, and Gannicus and Yellow Ranger and Sybil are trying to flee. And they happen to Gannicus is disguised as Heraclio, and they happen to walk by Caesar, and Caesar stops and is like, "Wait a minute."
He knows exactly what's up.
Yeah, Caesar says, "Wait a minute. Heraclio was only given one woman," which it seems weird that Caesar would have also gone along with this plan to give Yellow Ranger to Heraclio, or maybe he wasn't given the choice. Who knows?
I don't know if he actually knew. He wasn't there when that.
Yeah. That was my initial
but
thinking was that he wouldn't have known, but clearly he knows.
Yeah, he saw Yellow Ranger, and he didn't say, "Wait, you're not supposed to have her." He says, "You were only given one woman," and Yellow Ranger is there. So it seems like he knew, and maybe he just wasn't given a choice. But this doesn't seem like something that he would agree with, and yet he's going along with the ride.
That could be something like they might have just screwed up when they were writing that too. Because it doesn't track with what he's already been established as. You're right.
Yeah, maybe the best idea is just like Crassus didn't give him a choice in the matter. Regardless, Caesar says you're supposed to have one woman, not two. Where did this other woman come from? And then Gannicus reveals himself. They fight. Yellow Ranger and Gannicus and Sybil escape, and they ride out to meet up with Spartacus. And so Caesar goes back to Crassus and is like, "We have to attack now. We have to go and get them. We have to take this fight to them." And Crassus is like, "No, we're going to wait for proper opportunity." And so then Caesar says, "What, you expect them to just wait up there until we show up to kill them?" And Crassus is like, "Yes, that's exactly what I expect." And then it cuts to Spartacus's camp. And Spartacus and Crixus and everyone, they're huddled around a fire, and they're just talking, and they're basically like they're fucked. Like, no one has any plans for how to get out of this situation. They are fucked. And then here comes Gannicus and Sybil and Yellow Ranger, and there's a moment of joy because Gannicus has come back to them. Spartacus and Gannicus have a moment where they talked about which of them is the hardest to kill. They get Yellow Ranger medical attention because she got stabbed in the stomach on the way out the door.
One of us.
And she
This is
has
one of those things also where another ridiculous sequence. You were talking about, I think it was the first episode, where we were like, Spartacus just charges in on his horse on a bunch of Romans that are all like formationed up and takes them on. The same thing happened with Gannicus going through. I'm like, there is no way
I think
and little could have made it through this.
I accept it in Gannicus' choice, because Gannicus didn't have a choice. Like, he either takes the horse through the Romans.
No. I agree with you, Steve. Gannicus had no choice. He had to charge into it, and I believe the Gannicus character would have looked at that, smiled, and said, "Good day to die," and run right into it.
But I think what Matt's getting to is, could Gannicus have won
it.
that fight?
Yeah,
yes,
I don't think he could have won.
That's the bullshit part. They would have stabbed the horse. He would have fallen down, and while he was on the ground, they would have he would have fallen upon a barrage of pointy swords and sharp sticks.
There's like a dozen Romans with shields and like pikes right in that little tiny area, and she even gets through. Yellow Ranger gets through.
Yeah, but there's no reason any of them should have. This is blatant.
Right.
This is like the worst kind of plot armor.
This is plot armor. Yeah, this is for sure is plot armor.
Anyways,
I agree that he would have done it for sure.
Oh yeah. That whole thing tracks, but him getting away and like in no way, shape, or form being hurt, cut, scratched, just like not being killed a million times over. Yeah, that's stupid.
Anyways, they survive. Gannicus, Sybil, and Yellow Ranger survive. They get back to the camp. And then Gannicus is talking to Spartacus, like, "Hey, we gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, the city is lost. We have to leave. And Spartacus is like, we can't. Why don't you walk with me? And so Spartacus and Gannicus walk to the edge of this wilderness that they're hiding in. And Crassus has built
Snowy
a
open
giant.
plain.
Crassus has built a wall that Spartacus paid for, and now Spartacus and his forces are trapped. So when Crassus said, "Yes, I expect them to wait for me," it's because Crassus out-schemed Spartacus and secretly walled in Spartacus's forces. They cut off his escape route, and now Spartacus and his people at this point are kind of just waiting to die.
They didn't just wall him in. They walled and built a fucking chasm to keep him in. There was a big pit and a wall on the other side of this big pit.
Yep. No escape, it looks like.
Nope.
One funny thing I will say about, there wasn't a whole lot in the audio commentary for this episode, but there was a funny thing that reminded me of our movies, Steve. Do you remember when we used to audition people, and I'd always put a weird word in the sides, so when they audition, see if they could say it correctly. So that was something similar happened in this. They're supposed to say secreted. So Caesar has been secreted among the gladiators and stuff like that. But the funny thing is every single time that word came up in the script, all the actors would say secreted. So they would say we've been they've been secreted instead of secreted, and so
that's just a funny Roman accent. It's fine.
They had to go back in ADR every single time that the word secreted was said, because it was said as secreted.
They don't look the same. How could
They
you
look
do
the same.
And I'm Ronan, and I know that those two words are different and not the same. How did these people fall into that mistake?
On the page, I'd have to look up the spelling, but aren't the spellings it's exactly the same, isn't it? Let me look it up. Talk amongst yourselves.
No, I'm curious. Ronan, talk, entertain the masses. Now I'm...
Tell us some facts about history.
So Spartacus getting walled in, and also having the walled in and having to cross through a chasm. That is a historic thing. I don't know if Crassus was the one who lured him into an area and then walled him in. It was either him or one of the various the Roman consuls who did it. But this is another historical thing, and the way that Spartacus got out of it, which we're not going to spoil yet, is also correct to history, and it's kind of fucked off as to how he did it, but that wily son of a bitch did it. So this is another time where they're pulling, from history. But I can't quite recall if this is the exact moment in which it happened. But
I think those words are actually identical. But wouldn't your context clues tell you that
Ronan was wrong? They are spelled exactly the same way. But yes. And you are right, Steve. It should be the context, but they kept saying secreted, like I'm secreting something rather than I'm secreted. There you go.
There's just this, as a funny story to get what we mean when we're talking about this. When we were taking auditions for one of our movies, Matt put the word "voila" into a scene, and someone who shall remain nameless reads the scene and she's like blah 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 viola.
Yeah, it was funny. She didn't. To this day, I don't think she even knows that story. So yeah, this episode, I don't think it was as cool as the last episode in terms of just excitement and stuff. But this definitely feels like okay, we got to calm down after the madness of the last episode and set our characters up into a situation that feels completely hopeless.
Totally not budget related. Totally not budget related.
And I think they did a really good job with that. The end of this episode is like, oh my goodness, how are they going to get out of this? Of course, that they do because there's still 4 more episodes left of this show. So I like the interplay where Crassus has completely outsmarted Spartacus, and now we're going to get to, how does Spartacus respond to Crassus's new, devious schemes?
Speaking of them, this is the first time that Spartacus and Crassus actually see each other. They still don't interact, but when the gate to the city is broken down, like Crassus is one of the first people to like walk in, and Caesar points to Spartacus, is like, there he is. And so Crassus and Spartacus like look at each other and lock eyes. This is the first time they have interacted or even seen each other in any way in this season.
Fuck you, Ronan. Fuck you, Ronan. I win. I'm the better. I'm the better Matthew. Just letting you know.
just barely.
That's
Ronan,
it.
Your thoughts? Did you like this episode or what?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That's it.
Well, now we have to wait for Ronan to buy back in so he can go all in on the next hand. Ronan has won the last two of these. He cannot bitch about this.
That's true.
But we have to wait because he's not in this hand yet.
Is there anything else in this episode that we can discuss?
Crixus, because Crixus only has one way of thinking. When he and Spartacus are up in this frozen wasteland, Crixus is just like, let's just go take the city back. Let's just go get it.
Dumbass. Fucking stupid fucker.
Agron,
we got this.
Agron totally continues to be jealous towards Castus, the pirate. And Castus, for like no particular reason, just got left behind. And so like Heraclio abandoned him, and so now Castus is going to try to become one of the boys. Agron and Nasir finally make up because Agron's like, I didn't do anything. You're accusing me of cheating, and it didn't happen. And Agron, I think, kind of understands at this point that that Nasir is trustworthy. So that personal relationship has been mostly repaired at this point. All right, that was my tidbit. Matt, your thoughts? Additional things?
Yeah, I think that this we didn't really talk about this at the end of episode 5, but like Crixus and Spartacus kind of making up. There's sort of that begrudging, like, you know, blood brothers sort of thing. But this is continuing. Like, we're gonna get. It's real soon here that Crixus and Spartacus are going to have their split, and I like the fact that they have been setting that up for the past few episodes. Where yes, Crixus cannot, as his character, he cannot go back to sort of supporting Spartacus 100%. He's going to, otherwise there'd be no narrative reason for him to actually leave and split up and do his own thing. And I like that, you know, it's getting back to kind of like that original blood and sand Crixus Spartacus thing where, you know, they're antagonistic towards one another. And I think they're doing a good job of sort of setting up the ultimate split. Although, if I remember correctly, the split isn't sort of like, there's not animosity there. It's not like Crixus like, fuck you.
Yeah, they have different goals at that point.
Yes, and I think that they're doing a good job of, you know, setting up that moment. So.
All right, here we go. All in blind. So Matt, yeah, if Ronan wins 3 in a row, then we stop this practice, right?
For sure. It's over at that point.
I mean, it won't happen, but it would be so sweet.
Shit! Wait, I fucked up. All right, one of you guys go on, and then it'll come back around to me. Okay. Yeah, all in. There we go.
I'm already all in.
Yeah.
I thought it was all right. Oh, okay. I thought I hit all in to begin with. Oh, yeah, because Ronan
sometimes it won't let you. If you've got like too many chips, you'll go all in, but it won't put all of them in until the next time.
Okay. For any viewers out there, we cannot let Ronan win this. How do we cheat? Is there a cheating mechanic in this game that we can do?
Red Dead Poker had a cheating mechanic, but not online. We should do
Red Dead Poker sometime. That'd be fun. We used to play that all the time.
If we were able to, we could, but I don't think Red Dead 2 has online poker.
Oh, we'll find out. Ace 3. Ace, come on, aces. Give me aces.
Oh, shit.
Oh, I got a good hand. Okay, that's promising.
There's a lot of money in here.
Come on, aces.
That's all bad. Give me a 6 or a jack. 6 or a
ace.
Oh,
yes!
Fuck.
Yes!
Jack.
Side pots.
I got 2 pair.
All right, so I won most of it. I had very little money left, so you guys are getting my leftovers.
I won some money because I'm now up to 13,000.
All right, I feel good about that.
Continue the tradition.
All right, I feel good about that. Thank you everyone for joining us for episode 6 of Spartacus. There are only 4 episodes left, so keep tuning in and don't be a creeper. Bye.